Okay, the kernel has completed compiling, and basically the command for that would be make and in make modules install. So basically it's doing one command, and with the two ampersands in there, uh, like I said before, returns control back to the terminal and then does the second command. Now we've already done that, so we don't have to do it again. Now all we got to do is type in make install. And there we go. That's it. Follow along. You could have an initram fs file or a nitrid file, but I've never found one necessary, so I'm not even going to put one in. I don't really use them, but they're necessary in some cases. Now the fstab file is pretty straightforward. First thing I've got to do is make a directory used to years ago. There was the media directory is just something that's happened within the last, I'm going to say, 10 to 15 years. I think somewhere around 2005, 2006, and that's a guess, is when the media directory first came in place. Before that, what you had was mount, MNT, which is what that's abbreviation for. And everything was mounted under there. So what we're going to do now is go to the fstab file, well, it actually stands for File System Tab, and it lists where the file systems are. Now, as I said, I don't use UUIDs. That stands for Unique Universal Identifier Number, and all the numbers are different. Like you can see here in this one, that is blanked out. Let me highlight it here. Anything that's got a hashtag in front of it is blocked out or blocked or a comment. Now, when I get rid of the hashtag, it changes color. But as I said, I don't use UUIDs, so I want to change this to extended 3, even though I could leave it as extended 4, and it would still work, but I'm just identifying where the root directory is, and then I go down here and identify what partition is a swap file, and then we're going to go ahead and uncheck this one for the CD-ROM, because there is a CD-ROM on the system. And that is the designation for CD-ROM. The first CD-ROM would be SR0, and the second one would be SR1. And it could be a reader, writer, DVD writer, it doesn't matter. So that's really all we have to do. And since we don't have a boot partition, we don't have to uncheck that one. Now, make sure I'm still recording. Just follow along with the guide, and that's mainly what I do. I set up a host name, You could leave this just the way it is in the handbook, but like I said, I've been doing this for some time, and I'll change it to something simple that I can remember. Control O to write, Control X to leave and get out of. Now this is a file that doesn't actually exist, so Nano's going to create it. And this has all of your networking information included in it. And I'm going to change this as well to something simple that I can remember, because you can use a host name when you're contacting the computer if you know what the host name is. And now I gotta add this, which won't take but a second. Matter of fact, it probably won't even come up. Yeah, I did. That's interesting. And make sure I got that spelled correctly. Net-IFRC. Net-IFRC. Well, that's weird. Huh. Okay. Now we have to take and put in the information. I use a static IP address. I prefer a static IP address. I don't really have a problem with DHCP giving me one, but if I have a static IP address, then I can set it to what I want to, and it'll always be that address. And then that way I don't have to worry about anything. I can write it down somewhere, or keep it. A lot of times what some people do is they'll just put a piece of tape on top of the computer and put the IP address on there, and then that way all they got to do, they don't even have to bring the computer up if nothing's been changed. They just look at the piece of tape, and that tells them everything they need to know. Now I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this just because I think it's a worthwhile thing to know. Okay, ln-s. This is what this is making a symbolic link. Okay, basically what this does is it creates two symbolic links that are directed to a different location. And, well, if I can get there, rc dash and now I have just added the net.eth0 to the default run level. What ln-s is doing, it's creating a link, and the dash s is for symbolic. You can have hard links and you can have symbolic links. And I'm going to show you what that is in a second here. I'm going to make a symbolic link between one place to another. ln-s. You can do this with files and folders, I think. Now if I look in root, right there it is, package use. Now what I can do, let's say I'm trying to think. Okay, well let's go ahead and I'll show you what basically when you make a symbolic link, basically what it's doing is it's kind of a shortcut to another location. Now I use this sometimes just to cut down on the typing I have to do. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I think this is it. Well, let's just go ahead and do it, and I'll show you what I was talking about earlier. Now, MC has, this is why they do their packages this way. Well, there's three of them, okay? Now, the one I'm looking for is the one on top, app-miscellaneous/MC. But there's two other, in the portage directory, there's two other ones, the netfs-mc, which is masked, and the scilabs-mc, which is not masked. So it needs to know which one I'm referring to. So now, I'm going to do pretend verbose, which is pretend to install it but don't really do it. app-misc, which is short for miscellaneous MC. Now what this is going to do, it's going to come up and it'll show me what use flags are set and which ones aren't. Now I don't technically want to install it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend, hopefully I can pretend to do this, and maybe not. If I was in the root directory, which is where I would be if I logged in already, say the system was already installed, and I logged into the root directory to install something, that's where I would be. Let's see. Okay, well it does work here. Okay, so now I'm in the root directory. And there's package use, and that's a direction to the actual location. So now what all I have to do is do an echo command, a quote, and I can say misc/MC, and that's really all I have to. I can issue the 4.8.24, but that's all I would put in there. And this is where different slots come into place. I'm going to go ahead and add that. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta put something in the front here. Equals. Now see, I'm telling it that it equals this particular version. And you'll see that a lot of times when you get a error kicked back. It'll tell you that it's only related to that particular version of that particular software. And then I'm going to say I'm going to change the use flag. I'm going to add spell to it. Okay, I'm going to close that quote, and I'm going to use a greater than symbol, and I am going to send it to package.use/MC. Now see, I don't have to put in the full etc. portage package use name of file. Now if I hit enter, okay, now if I do ls package dot use, there it is, there's the MC thing. Now if I do that again, and just to prove to you that it is in fact in there, I can use cat, and there it is. Now if I turn around and re-emerge MC, okay, you can see that the spell use flag has been put in here. And of course there's some more packages, but I'm going to do more to MC, so I don't want to install it right now because it's going to take up a lot of time. So that's how that works, and that way I don't have to do a lot of typing to go to the actual directory for package use and all that stuff. Now I want to RM that. Okay, I want to, okay, it's gone, so I'm going to emerge it again just to make sure that it is in fact back to normal. And I'm going to install MC later on. Okay, now see, the spell has been put back as not included or not turned on. So that is one way to do that. Now I've got the package use in my root directory. It'll be there when I get the system installed, so that helps a little bit. Instead of having to type in going to the actual location. And the symbolic link will update the file in the actual location. And I'll make another video about that later on. Now what I did before with the moving the directories is called push D, and one is called pop D. P-O. And it takes me right back to where I was. So I can move around in directories without having to give their full name. I just wanted to do that real quick in the root directory to show what you could do with symbolic links. but I didn't want to lose my directory there. And that put me back where I'm at in as far as the handbook goes. Okay, we've done that. We're going to check out the edit the host file. And I'm going to go down here to 127.0.0.1 and nomad dot earth nomad, and that sets up the host name, and then you'll see it on the prompt and everything when this is all finished. Control O, enter, Control X. I do know how to use Vim. I don't know if Vim is on here. No, well, it's not on the actual installed system. I keep forgetting I'm in the CH root. Vim's not on here, so I couldn't use it anyway. Alright, going back to the guide. Okay, now we can set the root password, because when I set the password before, that was to use SSH, and that's in the booted system, but since we're in the CH root system, we have to set the password for root. Okay, got that taken care of. Now we can actually log in when this thing is said and done, or when it's all installed. Okay, we only got one more file to edit, and I think this video will be done. And there's only one thing I have to do inside the RC config, and that is change one thing. If I can get to it without going past it. I did go past it. Okay, rc.system, or rc_system. And that's it. That's all I have to do, and that will prevent you from getting an error when you log in. And you can change a lot of things in the RC config file, but the handbook really doesn't go into a lot of details about it. But okay, so I'm going to end this video because it's about 23 minutes, and when I come back we'll install tools and set up the system and be ready to reboot.